Look, I'm not one for drama, but when I pulled up to my new lake house with a moving truck full of my life's junk, I didn't expect to be staring down a power-tripping HOA queen who'd call the cops on me before I could even unpack a single box. My name's Ethan Caldwell, 36, ex-Army, 3 tours overseas, and I just inherited this place on Willow Lake from my dad, Michael, who I hadn't spoken to in over a decade, not since we had it out at Mom's funeral. Words I wish I could take back. So there I was, standing in my own driveway, diesel fumes from the truck mixing with the pine-scented air, when Vivian Hartwell, the HOA president, rolled up in her shiny Lexus SUV, flanked by 2 goons who looked like they'd been hired off a bad action movie set, and 3 county deputies itching to slap cuffs on me for trespassing on my own damn property. Vivian didn't waste time. She marched right up my porch steps, her heels clicking like a metronome, and leaned in close, her perfume so strong it could choke a horse. "Your father's barely in the ground, Mr. Caldwell," she hissed, "and you think you could just stroll into my community?" Her voice was all syrupy venom, like she was scolding a kid, but with a threat behind it, the kind that makes your gut twist. She waved a manicured hand to the deputies, claiming I was some kind of squatter running a drug ring out of my dad's old place. I stood there, holding a box of Mom's old photo albums, trying to wrap my head around how inheriting a house had turned into a standoff in under an hour. Overhead, a chopper buzzed. Yeah, she called the freaking National Guard, or close enough, saying I was a security threat. I mean, come on, the only threat I posed was to the dust bunnies inside. Here's the thing. Vivian didn't know my dad had wired the whole house with cameras, military-grade stuff, blinking away in the corners, catching every word she spat. She also didn't know he'd owned 60% of her precious HOA, or that the packages she'd been moving through my dock weren't drugs, they were people, desperate folks smuggled like cargo. That's right. The HOA wasn't just about lawn height rules. It was a front for something a hell of a lot darker. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to how this all started, because trust me, it's a wild ride. It was a Tuesday late afternoon, sun beating down at 92 degrees when I first pulled up to the house. Willow Lake sparkled like something out of a postcard, 300 feet of waterfront, a rickety dock that could hold a yacht if it had to. The house itself was a weathered 2-story cabin, nothing fancy, but the kind of place you'd kill to retire in. I hadn't been close to Dad, not since I blamed him for not fighting harder for Mom when cancer took her. I was 26 then, angry, said things I shouldn't have, told him I was done with him. He vanished from my life after that, and I let him. Then, 3 days ago, his lawyer called, voice cracking over the phone. "Ethan, your dad left you everything and something he died to protect." I should have asked what he meant, but I was too busy reeling from the fact that Dad had left me anything at all. The key in my hand felt heavier than it should have as I unlocked the door. Inside, the place smelled like old cigars and something sharper fear, maybe, or secrets. Dust coated everything, except for fresh boot prints, size 10, leading to the basement. My hand twitched for a sidearm I hadn't carried since I left the Army. But I was a civilian now, so I just stood there, heart pounding, wondering who'd been in my dad's house before the news of his death even hit. Through the kitchen window, I caught a glimpse of someone in the neighbor's house, watching me with binoculars, not the nosy neighbor kind, but the kind that screamed surveillance. I'd barely set down Mom's photos when Vivian's convoy screeched into my driveway, gravel flying like shrapnel. "You're trespassing," she declared, like she was reading from a script. Not even glancing at the deed I shoved in her face, the one with my name clear as day. "Your father stole this property from us. These papers are fake. You've got 5 minutes to leave, or I call the cops." I almost laughed, but the ice in her eyes stopped me. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a power play. "Call him," I said, crossing my arms. "I'll wait." That's when she pulled out her bedazzled phone and dialed 911, loud enough for me to hear every lie, This is Vivian Hartwell, Willow Lake HOA. We've got an armed intruder, military-trained, extremely dangerous. Send SWAT. I stood there, jaw tight, holding nothing but a cardboard box, while she painted me as some Rambo wannabe. Insane didn't even cover it. The deputies showed up fast, lights flashing, hands on their holsters. The lead guy, Deputy Carter, wouldn't meet my eyes. He kept glancing at Vivian like she was the one holding his leash. Hands up, he barked, though I was already standing still as a statue. I own this place, I said slow and clear. Here's the deed, the will, everything. Carter didn't even look at the papers. His hand shook, not from nerves, but something deeper, like he knew this was wrong, but couldn't stop it. As he cuffed me, he leaned in, barely a whisper. She's got everyone by the throat. Just go along for now. That's when I knew this wasn't just about a house. This was a machine, and Vivian was the one pulling the levers. They tore through my place like a tornado, ripping open boxes, prying up floorboards, looking for something they didn't find. Vivian stood on my porch, smirking, a gold chain around her neck with a vial that caught the light wrong, too thick, too murky, like it held something worse than water. Your dad thought he could play hero, she said, leaning close. Look where that got him 6 feet under. I wanted to snap back, but Carter shoved me into his cruiser, and as we pulled away, I saw her eyeing a rusty lockbox one of the deputies hauled out of the basement, her face flickering with something like fear. At the station, they threw every charge they could think of: trespassing, breaking and entering, even suspected terrorism because of my Army record. It was a clown show, but I wasn't laughing. I called the one person I trusted, Sarah Kane, ex-JAG Corps, a lawyer who'd pulled my ass out of the fire in Iraq when a CO tried to pin a bad call on me. Ethan, what the hell did you do? She asked, half laughing. Inherited a house. I said, apparently that's a felony now. She was there in 2 hours, tearing their case apart like it was tissue paper, threatening lawsuits until the sheriff himself apologized and cut me loose. But 4 hours was enough time for Vivian to gut my house, and she still didn't find what she was looking for. Back at the lake, the place was a war zone, furniture flipped, boxes dumped, floorboards splintered. But the basement door was wide open, and what I found down there changed everything. Dad's office was a command center. Monitors showing live feeds from cameras all over the property, recording gear that looked like it belonged in a spy movie, and a wall covered in photos, notes, and strings tying it all to Vivian Hartwell. Boats docking at 2 a.m., people, kids, families unloaded like cargo, her son's barking orders, cartel types handing over cash. A journal on the desk, Dad's handwriting, laid it all out. Vivian was running a trafficking ring through the HOA's docks, $40,000 a boat, twice a week, hundreds of lives sold like livestock. The last entry, dated a month before he died, read, Ethan, if you're reading this, I'm gone. It's murder. Finish this. Semper Fi. My hand shook. Dad was a Marine too, something he never told me. And he'd been poisoned, arsenic in his vitamins, courtesy of Vivian, who'd been hand-delivering them for years. I sat there, gut-punched, reading about a man I thought I knew, a man I'd hated for abandoning me, when really he'd been fighting a war I didn't even know existed. A flash drive under the desk had his final video, his face gaunt but eyes fierce. Ethan, I failed your mom, failed you, but I couldn't walk away from this. They're selling kids, son. I let her poison me to keep my cover. Finish it. I broke down right there, years of resentment crumbling against the truth that my dad died a hero alone, so I could pick up where he left off. The phone rang, jarring me. Mr. Caldwell, this is Agent Torres. I see, a calm voice said. Your dad was working with us. Vivian's desperate. She knows he had evidence, but not where. We need her to confess, on tape, everything. He told me about decoy lockboxes Dad planted to keep her chasing ghosts, and how she'd already killed others who got too close, a local couple, a journalist, all accidents. My job? Survive 72 hours and get her to talk. Semper Fi, I said, and I swear I heard him grin. That night, I met Mrs. Lynn, my neighbor, who slipped me a note under a casserole. Your dad saved my son. Now I'll save you. At her house, she showed me her own evidence wall, missing person reports, fake death certificates, her son's story of seeing kids smuggled and being threatened by Vivian's goons. Your dad bought the HOA to protect us, she said, but now you're the target. At 3 a.m., I watched boats pull up to the HOA shore, unloading dozens of people, kids clinging to strangers, herded into vans. I got it on camera, heart racing, knowing this was what Dad died for. Deputy Carter caught me out there, his gun down, tears in his eyes. My brother's chemo, Vivian pays for it, he choked out. Help me stop her, I said, or you'll go down with her. He walked away, but I saw a flicker of the man he used to be. The next day, Vivian turned up the heat, fake fines for my grass, health department nonsense, fire marshal complaints, all to break me. I played along, mowing my lawn, waving at neighbors, acting like I wasn't planning her downfall. At the bank, I opened Dad's safety deposit box. Photos of victims, bank records of millions funneled offshore, and a video of Vivian laughing as she poisoned Dad's supplements. I was ready. The HOA meeting was in an old lakeside hall, water on 3 sides. One road imperfect for her ambush, better for mine. The place was packed. Half the crowd her cartel buddies with out-of-state plates. Vivian stood at the front, black suit like a funeral director, her sons twitching beside her. Mr. Caldwell's a danger, she started, waving fake psych reports about my PTSD and violent tendencies. I cut her off, voice steady. Interesting, Vivian, considering I've never met those doctors. How much did you pay for those lies, same as you paid to disappear the Hendersons? Her smile faltered. I hit play on my phone, her voice blasting. Your dad's dead, and you think you can waltz into my lake? We've moved 50 boats this year. One more body won't matter. The room gasped, residents whispering, her goons shifting. Deep fake, she stammered, but I held up Dad's journal. 3 years of your trafficking, Vivian, every victim, every dollar. Oh, and the arsenic you fed my dad 400% above lethal. Her son lunged, but I stopped him cold. Careful, Jake, unless you want everyone to know about your Chicago deals. She snapped, slamming the table, screaming. Your dad deserved it. He was going to ruin everything $5 million a year, and he wanted to save worthless nobodies. That was in her confession, raw and ugly, as residents stood, horrified. Agent Torres burst in, badge up. Vivia Hartwell, you're under arrest, trafficking, murder, racketeering. Chaos erupted. Her goons tackled, her sons cuffed, Vivian shrieking, I own this lake, as they dragged her out. Carter dropped his gun, hands up, done fighting for her. The aftermath was a whirlwind, 25 arrests, $5 million seized for victims. The HOA dissolved. Willow Lake became Michael Caldwell Memorial Lake, a plaque honoring Dad's sacrifice. The 40 victims from that night's boats got asylum, some staying local, opening businesses, rebuilding lives. I stayed too, married Sarah, fostered a kid named Luis, whose laugh on the dock feels like redemption. Dad's evidence took down networks across 8 states, saving thousands. The Michael Caldwell Act now keeps HOAs honest. Every morning I drink coffee on that dock, Dad's watch ticking 15 minutes fast, and I feel him in the waves, the loons, the peace we fought for. So what do you think? Was Dad's sacrifice worth it? Or should he have walked away? Ever misjudge someone, only to find out they were fighting a war you didn't see? Drop a comment. I want to hear your stories, your fights, what you'd do if evil came to your doorstep. Hit that like button if this hit home, and subscribe if you've ever dealt with a bully who thought they owned the world. Let's keep exposing these monsters together.